Hear you.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Looks like we have a pretty good group on here. So I think we're going to go ahead and get started so that we can value your time. All right, this is our cohort 2 meet and greet. The purpose of this meeting is for you, the district leaders, to get to know those of us who are in your cohort. Our cohorts being those groups that are going to support you and collaborate with you as we work through some of the challenges that you may indicate you have in your districts, mainly based on the RCAs and surveys that you complete. So this is a very collaborative group. Um, we always work through this group with no judgment, with open ears, with open minds, listening to what you have to say, eager to learn from you, and hopefully provide the support that you need. Someone says I have kind of a warble. I'm going to see if I can fix that.
Is this any better?
It is, Lisa.
All right.
It
Apparently
is.
my microphone is acting up just a bit. Thanks for letting me know, Charles. Okay. So again, this is to welcome you to our first meet and greet for cohort 2. I'm going to let Marietta take over with the beginning of our introductions of your cohort members.
Good morning, everybody. You can see the cohort team from our office on the screen now. Most of you do know who I am. I've been around for a long time. So I'm your post-secondary contact for your cohort. And so we're going to let each person in the cohort now give you a little overview of them, their positions as well.
This is Dr. Lisa Rayford, now Dr. Lisa Kershaw. If you refer to me as either, I will answer. Working with the Early Childhood Outcomes Focus Team. I'm in cohort 2, and I'm still your autism contact and your contact for special events for OSIS.
And this is Kristen Douglas. I am part of actually 2 focus groups. In cohort 2, I'm representing the social emotional learning focus group. So I am your contact if you have questions about social emotional learning. I'm also part of the early childhood focus group as well. We have with us few more members of our cohort who are at a different training right now, so they couldn't be with us today, and that is Shanna Garrett. She is with finance, as well as Deetra Brigman, who's also with finance. Those will be your finance contacts. We have Carmen Willem, who is part of the early childhood focus group as well, and Jenny Dillon, who represents our academic outcomes, and she is a part of our cohort as well. We are glad that you're here today. And so I wanted to share with you your points of contact for your within our cohort. So what we've done is we've given each of the districts a particular point at which you could use as your point of contact. So you'll see Marietta Taylor, you'll see Dr. Kershaw, you'll see Jenny Dillon, as well as myself, and the list of our districts, so that you have at least that one person that you have that go-to person at OSIS that you could come to within our cohort. So you will see, you just look at this list here, find your district, and know that we really do appreciate your flexibility. If anything that we have taken away from our time with COVID and everything that's going on with the pandemic is we have learned to be real flexible. And so there may be a shift or two when getting Carmen Willem with some districts as their point of contact. So just appreciate that flexibility and allow for that. But if we needed to change anything as we're moving forward, we will let you know. And I will throw it back
So,
over to
yeah,
Marietta.
yeah. Since we introduced ourselves, we'd also like to hear from you. So we'd like for you to each unmute yourself according to the list here. We're going to start and go alphabetically. We just want you to feel comfortable talking to us and asking questions and joining in the conversation throughout the rest of this time frame that we have, this getting to know you kind of thing, and just to see how we're going to kick things off. So we will start with Aiken and go forward. I'm going to just mute myself so that nothing back here, my dogs and all, don't interfere with what we're doing. So Aiken, take it away. And if you will, please just tell us your name and your position. And if you have any of your other staff members there, you can give us their names and what their jobs are related to the district as well. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Latoya Wiley. I'm the new Special Education Director in Aiken County. I have with me Amy Bryce, who is our Coordinator of Compliance. She supports the compliance aspects of things, enrich aspects of things, alt services, and supports.
Okay. Hi, I'm James Carter, Director of Special Services, and I have with me Ms. Karen McKinney, who's the Compliance Officer.
And that was Allendale, folks. So
Right.
Please tell us you can just tell us your district too. We may be missing somebody and we don't want any confusion. Thank you, Mr. Carter. Do we have Bamberg with us?
You do.
Okay, go ahead. I don't know whether your mic's cutting out, Dottie, but we're not hearing anything.
Okay, I hope that's better.
It is.
Hey, everybody, this is Dottie Brown. I'm the Special Education Director with Bamberg School District 1 and Interim Superintendent for Bamberg School District 1. Hope everybody's doing well.
Hello, I'm Leah Bias. I'm the Director of Special Services here at Barnwell 19.
Hello, this is Dr. Shannon Johnson from Bamberg School District 2, Director of Special Education Services.
Do we have Barnwell 45 with us?
I am. Hey, I was waiting to see if Barnwell 29 was in the call. I wasn't
That
sure.
was Barnwell 29. Yes, she did. You're
That
good.
was Bamberg. Shannon Johnson was in Bamberg too, Marietta.
Oh, Bamberg too. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Barnwell 29 is Constance Mays. I think a lot of us will know her from CEC.
Yeah, I haven't seen her name on there. So please
okay.
go.
Well, hey, y'all. I'm Kim Road. I've been here for quite a while in Barnwell 45. I'm the Director of Special Services.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Rita Jacklich. I'm one of the special education coordinators here in Beaufort County School District. And I'm not sure if anyone else is joining me, but I know that Dr. Juliet White, who's the Director of Special Ed for our district, she's in a principals meeting right now, but I'll be joining you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Maya Rosenberg. I am Coordinator of Related Services with Berkeley County. I'm sitting in for Katie Stapleton, our Director of Special Services today.
Good afternoon. I'm Beverly Pilkey. I'm the Executive Director for the Department of Exceptional Children with Charleston County Schools. And joining me are Sherry Bell, the Director in our department, and Dr. Shannon O'Neill, who is our Autism and Compliance Coordinator.
Hi, it's Colleton County. I'm Dr. Jacinta Bryant. I serve as the Director here. And I also have my other counterpart on here, Deanna Parrish. She is our coordinator here.
Okay, this is Chuck Kirtley in Dorchester 2. I'm the Assistant Director. Our Director, Dr. Capitoletti, will be joining us, and I have Miss Michelle Jakes, our lead school psychologist, on with us as well.
Do we have Dorchester 4 with us? Thank you. Thank you, sir. Do we have Dorchester 4 with us? She may join us. in a little bit then. Let's go to Hampton 1.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Young, and I'm the Director of Special Services for Hampton 1 and Hampton 2.
Thank you. Moving to Jasper. Not sure Jasper's with us. Let's go to the Lawrence group.
Good afternoon. I'm Sarah Francis Lale, Special Services Director for Lawrence 55.
Good afternoon. I'm Tina Daniels. I'm the Director of Special Programs for Lawrence 56, and I have with me Cindy Coker, the Coordinator of Special Programs.
Good afternoon. I'm Wendy Stoudemire, Director of Special Services for the School District of Newberry.
Good afternoon. I'm Elizabeth Schumpert. I am the Director of Student Support for Saluda County Schools, and I have Holly Sheely with me, who is my Special Education Compliance Coordinator.
Do we have Union with us? All right. If any of these others join, we'll try to watch the box and see. And if they do, we'll get back to them. But thank you very much for the introductions, and we'll move on now. I appreciate that.
All right, thanks everyone. Now this is the exciting part. We get to get into some real conversation with you all. And the point of this meeting is truly for us to have a conversation. So we do have the chat open, but we really want to hear your voices. We want to hear your words and what you have to say surrounding these questions that we're going to be posing through this meeting. So the first question that we are going to ask you is, how would you define a successful year? We sent a questionnaire out and we got some answers back from that. And overall, a lot of the answers surrounded success in compliance with state and federal regulations, success with academic and functional growth, and also success in using data effectively. What other areas of success have you had in your school year that you would define as a successful year? Share out with us right now. And these can be successes that you've had in the past, or how you feel a successful year would look in your district.
So for Aiken County,
Hey, Latoya.
Hi. Since our entire leadership team is pretty much new, I think for us this year is keeping our heads above water and meeting our timeline.
That's understandable, particularly this year. Thanks. We're going to be taking notes as we go, just so we have the opportunity to look back on this and really understand where you're coming from. That was great. Who else has an idea?
Hi, it's Dr. Bryant out of Colleton. I think for us, what I've been most impressed with is our Project Search. That's still up and running, and they're at a site at Walmart. So our students are working. We have about 6 to 7 students there, fully functioning, coming into work every day, utilizing CDC precautions. Haven't had a case yet. So, work-based learning site is definitely a plus for us.
Oh, that's great. And that's such a great program. I'm glad to see that that's working well. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Bryant.
Thank you.
All right. Someone else joined in through the chat. I'm going to speak from, I'm not sure if he's got audio. Charles Kirkley shared that this may be an off topic, but I'd like to know how folks who are pulling students out for speech and resource services are handling social distance, such as large rooms, consolidating schedules, etc. If anyone would like to respond before we're done today, I would appreciate any feedback. All right, so we're going to look at some of those topics as we go through, but if anyone has some ideas in mind that we could share with Charles, we would like to share those with him. Who else has some ideas of defining a successful year? Something that you had or something that you'd like to see? What does that mean to you?
This is Beverly from Charleston County. I'm like many of you others, we are all experiencing different instructional delivery models this year, whether that is 5 days a week in person, whether it's a remote learning or a virtual academy. So we're defining success too and ensuring that we are providing those appropriate related services, especially designed instruction for our students, regardless of the instructional model in which they're being served this year.
Right, right. That's excellent. Thanks, Beverly, for sharing that.
This is Rita from Beaufort County, and I would also say retaining teachers as well as having a full staff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that can be a challenge, can't it, right now, particularly in light of what we're doing with the pandemic. That's a challenge a lot of times, but I think the pandemic has thrown an extra twist into that. You can hold on to your teachers. That's definitely a plus. All right, we're going to go on to the next slide then. Thank you for sharing out on that thing. A lot of things can combine to make a successful year. But to make a successful year, typically there are things that you need to have in place. So that's our next question. What will you need to do to have a successful year? Again, looking at the questionnaire, some of the answers that you shared with us then were ensuring the health and well-being of students and staff in this new normal, providing ongoing professional development with staff, and serving students appropriately in all models, virtual, hybrid, and face-to-face. What else do you think you would need to have a successful year in your school districts? You can dive deeper into those answers that we had already sent us through the questionnaire, or you can share out with us some new ideas that you have, things that you need to do.
I think something, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think something that we're doing in Berkeley, just to elaborate on the provide ongoing professional development, is to do very tiered professional development. So have some different entry points for staff, depending on where they're currently at.
Well, we do that for our students, so I think that's definitely interesting to do that for our teachers as well. Thank you.
Hi, this is Elizabeth in Saluda.
Hi,
and
Elizabeth.
I want to elaborate on bullet number 3, not only serving the students appropriately in their models, but we need to be able to support the teachers in those models, especially our teachers that are new to teaching virtual.
Definitely, definitely. That kind of has to come first line, doesn't it? We have to get our teachers where they need to be so that they can actually serve our students appropriately. Thank you. Anybody else have some ideas on what you need to do in order to have a successful year? I think everyone is balancing that act of having your teachers where they need to be and the students where they need to be, because so much of this is new for both groups of people. Administrators are looking at different avenues to accomplish these things in order to make a successful year. So sometimes we're really having to think out of the box in order to accomplish our goals. All right, let's go on to the next question. So this is where you need to look at OSIS, Office of Special Education Services, looking at our cohort teams. What do you need from us in order to help you be successful? What do we need to do to help you be successful? You've already indicated that professional learning opportunities, resources, training, and support are necessary, as well as face-to-face time to discuss hot topics and ideas, including the COVID, and guidance on IEP documentation and policies, procedures, and systems. What else will you be looking to us for? How can we be helpful to you? We're doing just about everything virtually now. And do you find that helpful in the format that OSIS has been using?
Well, this is Colleton County. Recently, right before Thanksgiving, we had Nicole Adams come on and talk with us about the SOTA, outlining our LEA profile and the supports that OSIS would provide to us once we, complete the root cause analysis for STAT. So I thought that was very helpful that, we have an internal team and we're looking more so as doing it in more the trainer model. Mm-hmm. So, your team coming in, training our leadership team here. So then we have Wednesday cohorts where we meet with our teachers through virtual coaching models. And so I felt like having that form of support from OSIS was very helpful. And it was very, immediate response time, and just, was very cordial, and, really outlined what we needed to do and how supportive OSIS would be for our own concerns here.
Wonderful, wonderful. As we're working on the SOTA and we've developed these cohorts, we really are spending a lot of time thinking about what you've told us in the past, Dr. Bryant, in all the districts, what you've told us, what we've done before, and trying to find really what it is that you all need, rather than us fixing problems, but working with you collaboratively, so that new ways are built for you to teach your own folks. I like that train the trainer idea. I think that's excellent. It builds capacity in your districts.
Yes.
Anyone else with any ideas? What you need from OSIS? How can we be the best support to you that we can be?
I think for us, and it might help a lot of people, because we're going through different instructional models, and I'm not sure if a lot of districts are like us, where it can happen on the drop of a dime based on a meeting. And that kind of leaves parents a little unsettled, even though we have contingency plans in place for students. Maybe suggestions on, how to effectively communicate that to parents, so that we're keeping everyone abreast of how we're providing services and supports. But also, if there is an overarching theme of parent complaints that are coming in, maybe we, someone notify us as a cohort of, here are some things we're seeing, here are some concerns we're hearing from parents, and here are suggestions for how you can stay ahead of that, mitigate that. I think that would be helpful.
I like that. Yeah, parents and families are even more important in these new settings, aren't they?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Yeah. Good. Communicating effectively with parents, and kind of a heads up on what parents are saying, what parents are needing. Great. Anyone else?
Lisa?
Yes.
We have Nicole Tyler and Michelle James with us from Union.
Oh,
They
great.
couldn't introduce themselves because they're having microphone issues. I was going to say, is it okay if they have something they want to contribute? If they put it
By
in the
all
chat,
means,
I'll
if
share it with you.
that works, I can see the chat as well. So if they want to put it
Okay.
in there and share, we'd love to hear from them.
Thank you.
Welcome to the meeting. The wonders of technology. All right, we're going to move on to the next slide. Anyone else having a difficult time hearing? I have someone who is saying that they're struggling with the audio.
Mine is fine, but I've got the headphones on, and that may make the difference, but I haven't noticed any issues.
All
But
right.
I'm sorry. If there's anything we can do, we will. Maybe we can increase the volume a little bit or something.
Yeah, I'll try and increase my volume.
It's not so much the volume, it's the warbling.
Oh.
I don't, maybe it's just my machine. If it is, I won't say anything else, but it's just a warble effect, and it's hard to hear everything enunciated.
Okay, Chuck, I'm not sure what's causing that. We'll see if we can work with that some. We do have some IT support on, perhaps if they have a suggestion. And if you have
it might be me too.
Okay. If you have difficulty with your audio also, yes, you can put your ideas, your thoughts in the chat, and we will share them with the rest of the group for those who may not be able to see that. Thank you all for your feedback. All right, we're going to move on to our next slide.
All right. These are some of the areas of information that we wanted to share with you. Our focus areas, and the winners are, but these are the ones that we got the most responses from. In other words, most of you in this cohort, out of the group, 21 responded that the academic instruction and outcomes area was a big concern, and this is where they'd like to see some emphasis placed. You can see the others, the post-secondary career development area was the second one. And then we've got our database decision making, and then you see the SEL social skills, and then finally the PSO student skills. And this was based on the surveys And out of the 37 districts in our cohort, this is the response that we got. Is there anything that you want to bring up about this as we move into our next slide? Be thinking about anything you want to share with us. So let's look at these first couple. Let's look at the academic instruction and outcomes thing. You tell us a little more. Those of you that indicated that was an area that you really wanted to emphasize. Tell us a little bit more about this from your point of view, please. We need to know, what your direction is so that we'll know what our direction needs to be.
I need strategies. Hi, this is Elizabeth in Saluda again. I need strategies specifically for ELA.
Okay.
My students with IEPs do not perform well on the statewide assessment. Testing on grade level when specifically their instructional level may be 2 or 3 years behind.
Are you talking reading strategies and writing strategies, or one more so than the other, Elizabeth?
Reading more than writing.
Okay. All right. All right. I believe we've got some things that we can talk to you about in that regard. Is there anybody else?
Marietta, this is Kristen. Just to kind of elaborate just a little bit on that ELA, on some strategies, just to kind of maybe produce a little bit of anticipation that we are meeting with a few folks from the development team over an assessment, really on exactly this idea, on strategies for our students to improve their outcomes on state assessments in the area of ELA. So I'm thank you for bringing that up, because that's kind of on our agenda too. So that's happening very soon. So hopefully we'll have some really good things to share very, very, very soon. It's just to kind of give you a little bit of a teaser.
Thank you, Kristen.
Hi, this is Marilyn Young from Hampton 1 and 2 again. We have been struggling, especially with the high school, with making sure that all of our students are getting their services on a 4x4 schedule. It was a struggle when the school decided to go to 4x4 instead of staying on a traditional schedule, but now it has become even more of a struggle with hybrid and virtual.
Okay. I don't know whether any of you in other districts have dealt with this. If you have, and you have some information to share, we would love to hear that too. This is an issue that I've experienced. I've taught when I taught on a AB block schedule and a 4x4, and it was more difficult to provide the services in the 4x4 setting. You had to get rather creative at times, but I can truly understand what Marilyn's talking about. So if you have any suggestions or any strategies that you particularly use to see that the academic instruction is being delivered as it should be, please share with us. We had one comment in the box from Mr. Kirtley that the skinny, building in the skinnies as an option can help, or can be helpful. If you can make that happen, that would be have to work with your administrators, but I have seen that be a successful strategy. You're right. Yes, sir. That is one.
Hi, this is Tony Capoletti from District 2, Dorchester 2 with Chuck. One of the things Chuck does and our high school interventionists do are sit at the table during the high school scheduling meetings. And if you can get yourself invited to those meetings and talk with them about, so they understand what we need, and then it's a lot easier to work in the planning stages than try to fix something after a schedule's already built.
That's a very good point. If you can get in on the front end, that is a very good point. Does anybody else have anything they want to share in relation to the academic instruction or and outcomes area?
Yes, this is Deanna Parrish from College.
Okay.
In completing our roots cause analysis, we reached out to various stakeholders in the district, including principals from schools. And one of the things that we've determined is that our MTSS structure is not where it needs to be for all students to have improved outcomes in these areas. And we need to really focus on that as we are looking at improving outcomes for students with disabilities. Overall, district poor performance is affecting special education students as well. And so because Dr. Adams has already met with us and began discussions, we're going to work with Dr. Susan Thomas on working on developing that MTSS structure at the district level, because we do realize in special education, we have the expertise to lead this charge, even though we know it's not a special education initiative, but we really want to support this in our district to help support all students, including those with disabilities.
Thank you. Yes.
I don't know if anybody has, and Michelle, I think you're online with us, could address this a little bit. We're a little concerned about school confusing a lack of instruction with a learning disability. And we're worried about maybe an overabundance of referrals that we shouldn't be having. Is anybody else experiencing that? Or Michelle, would you address that a little bit maybe?
Well, I think that concern has caused us as a district to kind of look at how we're identifying kids, just kind of our process relative to patterns of strengths and weaknesses, and utilizing the information, or not utilizing it, but also putting that layer of COVID and what happened in the spring into that consideration.
It's really during the COVID experience is what's caused the kids, the misinstruction and a lot of anxious behavior, with students and teachers. So we are taking a look at that. I mentioned it to all the elementary principals yesterday, and they were all shaking their heads at me. So I feel like they kind of understood what we were talking about.
Right. Also, too, I think just better identifying if it's an academic rooted issue or if it's a more like what you're saying, like a mental health kind of issue that we could handle differently.
And I think we probably will see an increase in this type of a discussion within districts. I hope that they will take the route that y'all seem to be taking, though, to look at the basic issues and the root causes of those issues as they move forward. Thank you.
Marietta, did you see Dottie's comment in the chat?
I just saw it. Yes.
Okay.
You want to read it? You want to?
Sure. Okay. Dottie shared that students with IEPs are not performing on grade level on state assessments, South Carolina Ready Reading and Math. We feel like the limited accommodations allowed on SC Ready Reading, which accommodate reading disabilities, and the restrictions placed on the population and number of students who can participate in SC Alt are contributors to poor student achievement outcomes.
That's great.
Thanks, Dottie.
Mm-hmm. Ditto.
Yeah.
A lot of concerns with that one.
Is there anything else?
Chuck shared that we obviously need an appropriate assessment, but I'm preaching to the choir. We hear you.
Definitely.
You guys are great at sharing out all of your concerns, and we're listening. This is why we're jotting all these notes down. Thank you.
If there's nothing else under this academic instruction and outcomes area, are we ready to move to the post-secondary outcomes career development area so that you can tell us more about your concerns in that particular focus area. Because a number of you listed that, and that was the second most listed issue in the survey. So if you can give us some more information, it would be very helpful. Is it in regards to the placements? Is it like for the credential, like getting the hours done, or is it something besides that? So just let us know what we got here.
I'll speak to the credentials. I think the curriculum for the credential courses are online to what the students need, but some of the expectations are not realistic. For example, for students to be able to get the high school credential, they have to pass the work ready assessment that is given in high school. And gen ed students have a hard time passing all 4 sections, but then we have that expectation for students with disabilities to be able to do it. And this is Elizabeth and Saluda again.
Right. Mm-hmm. How have y'all been handling any of the credential students that needed to earn the hours or work on building their hours during all of this? Have you been able to find some creative ways to help them pick up those hours needed for the credential?
Hey, this is Hope Batten from Dorchester District 2. We have been very creative. We have our job coaches are working with teachers that we have that are teaching the employability class. We have some schools have got labs in the building, so they're able to come in and work when they're on their hybrid day when they're in the building. We have one school is making kits and delivering it to the house for the kids to work on virtually with the teacher so that they have the tools that they need in their home to do the activities to build what they're doing. I think they've done the carpentry activity, they've done an electrician's activity, and I think masonry's next. So they're getting in hours that way. They're doing virtual job shadowing. We have on-site school-based enterprises. One of my high schools is running a car wash. So very creative and doing the best we can to get hours earned.
Well, those sound like really good ideas too, though. It's keeping the kids on track a good bit. So that's good. Thank you for sharing that. Are there any other issues that those of you that said the post-secondary career development piece was something you were concerned about? Has anything come to mind?
This is Colleton County. For me, I just think of our partnership with our Career Tech Center for our students with disabilities. I think for the years I've been here, just making sure that and we've done training with them on accommodations, but whenever our students have had issues, it's like, okay, why do you want them to leave? We have to address accommodation. So I really would I know at the state level that you all are working very hard on a partnership, but I really would love you all, when you do support our district, to work with us in our CTA program here on addressing, and increasing our students attending those programs and becoming completers. So that's an area of concern for me.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I think a lot of districts have the same issue with making sure that the CAPE classes are available to the students with disabilities. And that's something that I know there are a couple of things going on right now that we have a representative in our office, Chris Napier. He just recently joined us over the summer, and he is actually working with Kate right now to come up with some other strategies and things like that. So we hope to have something to share with you soon from his efforts and with the efforts that they're making there. Is there anything else with this?
Yes, I have a question in reference to the high school credential. Our students who are on the credential track, once they finish those 24 units their senior year, are they going to be considered graduates, or would they be considered dropouts since they have not earned a South Carolina high school diploma?
The credential does not replace the diploma in that regard. So right now, it is not recognized as an alternative to an actual South Carolina diploma. So at this point, it would be considered that they would not have graduated with a diploma. And yes, as it would be reported under the current circumstances, I'm afraid that it would still be falling into that area, yes, of a dropout, where we hope to see that change. We want to see that change because the credential does require an awful lot.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
does.
it's a very rigorous program, and this is one thing that we would like to address in the future. But as of right now, we have not gotten to that point. And I'm sorry to say that, but we haven't. If there's nothing else in this particular on these two, we can look at the next ones. We've got 3 others we'd like to cover, and we are closing in on our time here. The database decision making, that was another one that several of you had expressed concerns. Is there anything you'd like to share with us? Anybody have anything in particular you'd like to share with us in terms of your district and the specific concerns with this area? Not ready to talk about that one yet. We can come back to it. Let's look at the social skills area, the social emotional group. This was also an area that some of you expressed a concern in. Is there anything in particular there? I think this one you had touched on a little bit ago. Some of you did when you were talking about the difficulties that the students and teachers and so forth have been dealing with under the circumstances of the COVID issue and working virtually and everything. Is there anything in that area that you would like to share with us? If not, if you think, oh,
Hey, Marietta,
sorry.
we've got
Yes.
something in the chat.
Oh, there it is. Yes. She says, Rita says, we've made a lot of strides with our students with disabilities. Oh, this is going back to the vocational thing, the CATE programs and our vocational programs with increased dialogue and communication. That is very important. You, again, just like the scheduling issue that when Dottie was talking about that and getting to the table, you have to do this up front. You need to be at the table up front when it comes to the CATE programs and just having that dialogue and the communication with those teachers, with the administrators in the CATE areas and all of that. Yes, good point. Thank you.
This is
yes.
Tony in Dorchester too. Again, we've spent a huge amount of time with social emotional in a lot of different ways. We had a district-wide committee involving parents, teachers, students, and came up with a plan to address it. Our head guidance counselor was instrumental along with our department, and the CASEL curriculum, it's not a curriculum, but the CASEL guidance program, the framework of CASEL, which is adopted statewide with counselors, was used and matched with an APEX curriculum called APEX 360, which is just a ton of social, emotional curricula defined by different areas of what students would need. And it had a pretest in it. And so we did the screener. We're in the process of doing the screener, and we looked at those results just last week and came up with specific areas of the 5 domains in CASEL of where certain kids in certain schools needed additional work. It is tiered. It is multi-system tiered, the APEX 360. It needs some work in terms of the dashboard. And so we're working with the company on that and pooling the data. But our school psychs, we have a school psychologist in every building, and they are very helpful with this along with the lead counselors. But we are, it's ongoing, the social-emotional effect. Yesterday, we had a principals meeting. We had a small group of principals present what they are doing to keep morale and climate. The difference between climate and culture was heavily discussed. But we have several schools that are capturing kids' heart schools, and they are very much aligned to CASEL and the whole social-emotional outcome, which is really good because it helps if it's second nature in the building. It's not an add-on. It's not a program. It's something that happens. And then the other program that they, of course, the PBIS schools yesterday spoke up and said that their social-emotional work is aligned to the positivity of that. And also Second Steps was a program that some of the elementary schools seem to be doing. So it takes on a life of its own. The main thing we talked about yesterday was managing the time to allow for social emotional healing, allow the time to say it's okay not to dwell on your content, whatever it is, but it's okay to take the time to listen to each other, to talk to each other, to help each other. We kicked off the year with Chris Singleton. I wanted to give him a plug. If any of you have not had Chris Singleton in your school district, his mother was one of the church members killed in the Emmanuel mother killing. And he is a young man, so dynamic. He did a video for our adults, for everybody in the district, the adults. It was so well received and motivational about really the world as your curriculum with the social and all the emotional, all the social injustices. It was really, really a good video. And then he did one for our elementary students, and he has a book. It's called Different, and we use that. And then he did a video for our secondary students. And his message is, everybody can make a difference no matter how little you are, no matter how insignificant you think you are. You can make a difference by being kind and respecting others, learning to control your emotions. I mean, it was great. And so I want to put a plug in there for Chris Singleton. You can Google him if you want to. But it's ongoing. It's ongoing. The more we talk about it, the more we realize there's a greater need. And we talk about it a lot.
Thank you. Those were some good suggestions there and some good ideas for some of the curricular pieces. If some of you, you wouldn't mind if any of the other directors called and talked to you about some of those programs if they had questions?
That'd be fine. We've got a lot more people know more details, but yes, that would be fine. I'll connect them and we'll be glad to share.
And
no
we've
problem.
also got the contacts here with our group that, the person in our cohort who could help you with that as well. And
I was super excited about that, Marietta. Y'all can't see me, but I was over here just cheering and getting all excited. And this is Kristen. Again, just also a reminder that there is a social emotional learning portal. you know, in SEL, it's at sel.ed.sc.gov. And on that portal, there's also access to free curriculum materials as well, for middle and high school through Everfi. And for elementary, there are specifically written lessons that were done through a collaboration with OSIS and the Office of Early Learning and Literacy for 4K through 6th grade that are all aligned with CASEL. So the Everfi curricula is also aligned with all the CASEL competencies as well, and lots of really good access to some of the CASEL tools and PBIS tools.
Yes, thank you.
Marietta, Elizabeth also added that in Saluda for SEL, they're using the Golden Gate movement in all of their schools. The guidance counselors had a kickoff in each school, and it's really impacted students exponentially. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
The Golden Gate movement. Okay. Is there anything else? Oh, yes. Is there anything else in this area that anybody would like to share? If not, we can look at the last area. And again, I feel like we've talked about some of this with the skills when we were up in the other post-secondary piece. But is there anything else you'd like to add? I was particularly referring to the kits that were put together when they were working on the skills for carpentry and so forth, and they were taken to the students, the boxes and the kits, so that they could do the lessons and virtually but still have the materials there. That's an excellent idea. Is there anything else that anybody would like to share at this point regarding this area? If not, that's fine. If you think of things later, all you have to do is contact some of us and we will share it with the group, and then we can share it with the cohort. And as we move forward, we will. Okay, something just popped up. Somebody says, Shannon O'Neill, how to embed they want to know how to embed CBI into school-based programming with limitations on our ability to go into the community. This is something, yes, this was one of the areas I was wondering about too. How do we embed that when they aren't able to go out into the community? I think some of you have been, you were talking about the school-based things. I know that's not community-based, but yet they were working out of the school, but the car wash would have been the efforts there. That would have been one of the areas. Is there anybody else who can help address this issue? Is there anything else that y'all have done to help integrate or embed that CBI into the school-based programming?
This is Rita from Beaufort again. Vogue Rehab has, at least in Beaufort County, so I would think it would be statewide, has opened their doors again. They're restricting the number of students, I believe, to 6 at one time and only one school at a time. But we're working out at a schedule within our county to afford the students in all 5 high schools the opportunity to attend.
Okay, that's good to know. Says before we finish, okay, we've got to revisit your question. Remind us of what that question is. Because I'm sorry,
Sure.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize we had skipped your question. I do apologize.
You got it, Chuck.
No problem. I asked at the very beginning of our time together, and it's about when we have to pull resource, other services. Just trying to get an idea of how everyone is doing that with the caveat of social distancing. And, there's some things like getting into a larger room and being very careful about scheduling and all, but has anyone else kind of had a challenge with that and had a unique way of addressing it?
Can y'all give him
I guess when we come back, if we're 5 days a week, if our populations increase, if the disease activity is such that we can come back, it's, our buses are limited to a certain percentage right now, around 67. And then, we have charts for our classrooms about who can fit within a certain framework and all. But I thought maybe somebody out there among our cohort might have addressed it a certain way, maybe just, and would like to share.
Chuck, this is Beverly in Charleston. So one of the things that we have done, because we do have a good number of students who are back 5 days a week, is for our itinerant staff, in addition to the PPE that we provide as outlined in our MUSC playbook, we also, our facilities team did an incredible job of constructing portable plexiglass barriers that all of our itinerant staff have, that they actually carry with them. They're designed with a handle where they are portable, so that when they are traveling among schools, as I'm sure most of you guys have too, our speech therapists, our autism itinerants don't tend to serve just students in one location. They serve students across the district. And so that's actually been a positive for them. That in combination with the surgical mask and the reverse Z-verse shields, and also the smile mask with the clear window. So that's kind of helped in terms of, the proximity, especially with the new DHEC guidelines about 3 feet and plexiglass, as far as the close contact is concerned.
Hey, thanks, Beverly.
Thank you, Beverly. I appreciate that.
That's
Chuck,
what we were
this
trying
is-
to figure out. I'm sorry.
Oh,
We
no,
were
you're
trying to
fine.
figure it out. Go ahead.
This is Maya Rosenberg from Berkeley. I work with Related Services. What we've been doing, it sounds similar to what Charleston County's been doing. We've had students back in the building since the beginning of the year. We've encouraged where it's applicable, and I'm not sure what your reentry looks like, to have blended groups. So we'll have groups where some of our students may be still receiving virtual instruction at home, and some may be in person. And so that's kind of limited some of the traffic, I guess. Each of our buildings, propose their own plan as far as PPE and social distancing went. And then we just worked with each of those individual buildings on what their spaces could accommodate. Our staff do have the shields, the clear panel student masks for those students requiring. And then we have the portable dividers as well as some tabletop and individual student desk dividers that our district purchased for those staff members.
Well, I appreciate you guys
that's what
sharing
we were
with us.
trying to find out. If the student, we're talking about, Chuck and I have been talking about this since yesterday about resource students, our allocations are hefty. And so if a resource teacher pulls from 3 or 4 different classrooms, the cross contamination, is going to be happening. Do they actually go to a resource type room, or have you moved any resources to larger spaces? Or do we just use the PPG, the plexiglass and mask and stay 3 feet apart? What does your resource service look like in a large elementary school?
In Saluda, we do have kids coming from multiple classes into a resource room. We felt that cross-contamination was out of our control because our kids ride on school buses with kids that are not in their classroom, their home room with them for the entire day. So we didn't really worry about cross-contamination because that's going to happen on a bus.
Yep. Okay. That's what I wondered.
And we've had very low cases in Saluda County with COVID-19. We started back 5 days a week, the first day of school, and have had minimal cases. Our kids are safer in school than they are at home.
All right. Well, that's good. Good for you guys. That's really good. Thank you.
I wanted to share one other thing. Something came up in the chat. Well, 2 things I'll share. One has to do with this topic about the PPE. It says you can always layer the PPE, such as the mask and the face shield and the plexiglass, and that's true. Sherry brought that up. Deanna Parrish put in a link to a virtualjobshadow.com for helping with career planning. If y'all are not familiar with that, it's virtualjobshadow.com, all lowercase. And I wanted to make sure that we said that. Dottie just put in, the majority of our student body are attending face-to-face with a few attending virtually. For speech and OT services for students coming face-to-face, the students are pulled out for services as usual per their IEPs. Groups are limited in number and teachers or therapists have rooms that are arranged with social distancing to the extent possible and dependent on their age. Therapists are using masks and portable plexiglass shields. So far, this has been very effective for them.
All right. Thank you.
Well, I think this has definitely turned into a meeting, which we imagined where we'd be sharing ideas, talking back and forth. So thank you, everyone, not only for your questions, but for your input, sharing those ideas with other districts so that all of us can be working at our best for our teachers and for students, for our families. Does anyone have any additional questions for OSIS based on what we've talked about, or perhaps something that we did not bring up today, things that you'd like us as a cohort to consider? If you think of it, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, can the census information that was sent out yesterday regarding the teachers for the visually impaired, is that a document that they typically complete, or?
I will need to find out about that for you. We'll type that in and I'll get the information. That's Latoya, right? Yeah, I'll make sure you get that information.
Latoya, do you have anybody that comes from the School for the Deaf and the Blind?
We actually have had to contract with individuals this year for that.
Okay. That's who is completing ours. I contacted our person today and asked her if she completed them or if I needed to look into it. I didn't know what to do. And she said she would complete it.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I need to contact them. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. If you think of questions, I see some people have to get off for other meetings. If you think of additional questions, please feel free to email any of us on this cohort team, and we will definitely work to get those answers back to you. We want to thank you for this time. Thank you for your input. We are going to meet again with you very soon based on what we've discussed today. And we will get back with you, have another meeting soon, and move forward to continue to support you the best way we can. Thank you to my team, and thank you to everyone who participated.
Thank you,
I
everybody.
just put the cohort contact information back up there in case anybody needed that again, just to see who their contact is and a good email for them to contact. So I'll just leave that up there while we're all
getting off there. Yeah.
Yep, getting off the call. Y'all have a wonderful day. I'm so glad that we had this opportunity.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Lisa, if you would just let me know when it would be safe to unshare.
I see. Yeah, we've got Wendy's on and a guest. I'm not sure I recognize the number.
Hi, Wendy.
She just went.
Okay.
All right. I think you're good unsharing.
Okay.
And we can always email this to the folks in our cohort, but I think we're good.
And I will stop recording.